What's up everyone, welcome back for another video. It's been a while, I know I say that a lot lately, but we're doing an install on the truck here, and obviously by the thumbnail and description or whatever, you obviously know what it is. We're doing Kings finally on the rear of my truck. If you go way back from when I was still living in New York, I did install Kings on the front of the truck because my original Multimatic DSSV, I forget what they're called, started leaking. So I decided let me just upgrade to the Kings instead of replacing with a subpar suspension. Well, I guess some people have really good luck with this suspension. Mine leaked pretty early on. My rear actually started leaking towards the end of last year, and I've just been putting it off. And now I finally spent the money. So this is the front. This is supposed to be routed, I believe, behind that, according to the instructions, but as you see, it started wearing through that, so I have it sitting in the front. I do have a weird clunk somewhere. I forget if it's this side or the other side. There's a clunk on the front end somewhere again, or still, because this truck always gives me issues with that. But we're not dealing with that. We are dealing with the rear of the truck, which shouldn't be a big deal. I haven't even watched any install videos on this, but should be 2 bolts per shock. I believe if you have the diesel engine, I have the V6 gas. I believe if you have the diesel engine, it's a little more difficult because there is the DEF tank somewhere that you need to like drop down to get to the bolt. Don't think we have to do that on this one, so just gonna try to fire this out and be cool. So, you can't see me. I did not get this with the adjusters because my fronts do not have the adjusters, so I decided let's just stick with what I have in the front. Plus they're a little bit cheaper that way. So we'll get this out of the way. I did pay for these, but I did get them at a discount. So if you guys want any car parts for your truck, Colorado or Canyon specifically, I will direct you over to Colorado Canyon Enthusiast. They will be able to help you out with any of your needs. Like I said, I did pay for these, but I didn't pay full price. So awesome, go check them out. Tell them Chris DZ sent you. I actually have you guys sitting on a different mod for a different vehicle that we just got, but let's give this a quick look. Nice. Let's see if these are open here. Take a lot more effort than I was expecting. Come on, there we go. Look at these things. This is sick. All right, so let's start dealing with these. These shocks did come with install instructions. The main thing is there's a little bit of offset on the spacer bottom thing, and the reservoirs go to the rear of the vehicle. Little offset. If you look here, see how one side sticks out more? That goes to the outside of the vehicle. So according to that, this should be the passenger side, because we have to offset towards the passenger side plus the piggyback little reservoir thing to the back. Pretty simple. It is 2 bolts per shock. Let's get this truck jacked up in the air, chock the front wheels, and go from there. Now, is it completely necessary to take the wheels off? I don't know. I don't have a lift, so obviously not gonna get that amount of droop out of it with just the jack stands that I have, so I had to take the wheels off for my situation. If you have a lift, you probably don't have to take your wheels off. So if you look through here, that is the DSSV. Obviously mine looks a little oily, which is gross. While I have this thing jacked up like this, I did buy a can of white lithium grease spray. So we are gonna be spraying these leaf springs down with some of that, just to possibly get rid of some of the squeakiness, just randomly. Then another thing we have, not for this video, I do have bump stops for front and rear. I'm waiting for the front ones to come in, and I'm just gonna do the full install at once. Since the rears is pretty simple, just take the U bolts off, put the new one on, put the U bolts back. So it is pretty simple to do it, but not gonna do it right now. Let's find where these bolts are. Looks like the top one might be a little difficult to get to, but we're gonna do the bottom one first and we'll take it from there. This is appearing to be a little bit of a problem here, that that bottom bolt is a little bit seized in the bottom shock mount. So I'm gonna have to struggle with that a little bit longer on my own, but I decided, let me take out the passenger side one. That one came out pretty easy. You are gonna need some pry bars to take it out because the top is a little bit wedged in there. But let's take a look side by side. Don't worry about don't mind the crazy hair. Side by side comparison of the two shocks. So larger reservoir, larger shaft, overall larger, beefier. This one's fine. The one that's under there, driver's side, is the one that leaked. So that's why we have the replacements. I should have done this a long time ago anyway because I had the Kings up front, so I should have just put the Kings in the rear. Like I said earlier, I do have bump stops. The rears are here, waiting for the fronts to come. I'm just gonna do that all together. That's gonna be a separate video. So if you wanna see bump stops, make sure, I guess, subscribe and come back for that one. I think I'm gonna throw this shock in because then I'll be halfway there. Then we'll struggle with getting that bolt out a little bit more. I think it's seized in, here on that one because I could get a little bit of spin on the bolt when I put the impact gun on it to try to spin it out. And I think that's just the amount. I think that's just the rubber bushing in there, a little bit of give. I don't know what I'm gonna do to get that completely off, but we'll get there at some point. So if you can't tell by my hair, that absolutely kicked my ass doing that. Bolt was seized, had to take some heat to it, so I put a torch on it for a little bit. I don't know what it was actually seized on. Let me, wherever the shock is, I just clean my hands, but bolt was mushroomed out from me smashing it with the hammer, so I had to sand it down a little bit, or grind it down a little bit, but shock is out. One thing I learned on the passenger side, if you have a shock skid, take that off to make your life a little bit easier, or swing it down out of the way if you have one that you can. Mine, I forget what brand I have. I feel like it might have been Dayton Fab, the same company as my rack. That you can't swing out of the way, so take it off just so when you put the top bolt in on the Kings or whatever suspension, you can swing the bottom into the hole to get your little bolt through. But with the shock skid, it's a little in the way, but let me grab the shock, hold on. Where my gloves are, so my hands are just gonna get a mess, but you can see this thing leaked. I don't think there's any stuff in it. That's still hot. Yeah, that shouldn't move that easily. So let's see, this is one, it's still good. That's a lot harder to move. Spin-wise, it's fine, but compression-wise, it takes a lot more effort than this one does. This one doesn't even rebound, but compression-wise, it's nothing. And then obviously you can see how slow it's rebounding. There's a bolt at the top. It is a 19 millimeter. Then the bottom, the bolt side of it, this bolt side is a 19 millimeter. The nut itself is a 21. Do the top first, get your bolt back in, swing the bottom in, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. All right, overall, that cattle guard was my test and it worked. So I have one more test for myself. It's something going to work on one of the roads. It's kind of like expansion joint. One of the expansion joints going over an overpass. The way the truck was, which was basically with no shock on the rear driver's side, and it was just all leaf spring, the truck would get really unstable and sometimes it would, traction control would kick on. So we'll see when I'm driving to work this week how it goes, but I think this is obviously a plus since it's a working suspension. All right, we are back home. That seize bolt kicked my ass, but we got it done. Obviously, these shocks work as shocks should, but they are the Kings, so I'm expecting them to be extremely nice. I did go over that cattle guard a few times, back and forth at higher speeds. Then I did go up a dirt road, not so much like off-roady dirt road, but it was just a dirt road at a fairly quick speed. Felt pretty good. Suspension settles pretty fast, which it should. Feels good. Plus for me. So once again, I would like to thank Colorado Canyon Enthusiast for working with me on these shocks, and then the next video on the truck, don't know if it's gonna be the next video, but the next video with the truck, installing bump stops. Once again, I did pay for them, but I didn't pay full price, so thank you for working with me on that one. So if you wanna help the channel out in any way, go hit up Colorado Canyon Enthusiast. Tell them Chris DZ sent you, I guess, if you want any parts. Other ways to help out the channel, use the links down below, the Amazon links. They are affiliate links. I do get a little bit of kickback from that, not much, but you could use those links to help the channel out a little bit. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and all that stuff. Back here, there is wheels for a different project that I have not announced yet, but who really cares about videos like that anymore? We have another project for the channel, new car. Full-blown project, I don't know, but there's gonna be some videos on it when we get to it, so stay tuned for that if you wanna see. It is another truck. We'll get to that though. This car should be gone pretty soon. If not this weekend, probably next weekend. I think it's pretty much sold, and then we're probably gonna get rid of that car. I'm not sure just yet, but probably gonna go. So once again, thanks for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one. Colorado Canyon Enthusiast, thank you again. Bye.